Struggling to get your kid out the door without a meltdown? School mornings don't have to be a fight. Here's how to make them calmer and smoother for everybody. Kids who resist going to school often have deeper issues. Maybe they have a learning issue, maybe they have an attention problem, anxiety, or a dysregulated nervous system. Until we figure out exactly what the issues are, we need strategies. And we're going to dive into ways to make your morning smoother. The key isn't forcing compliance, it's really making that morning less stressful right from the start. Why are mornings so hard for some kids, right? It could be nervous system overwhelm, that they're anticipating the day, they're, feeling that discomfort. Even just thinking about it sets them off. It could be executive functioning issues, problems with time management, transitions, and even understanding what the expectations are. Maybe they're not clear enough, right? Emotional resistance really leading to behavioral defiance is a need for them to have control. And when things feel out of control, we want more control. So let's talk about 5 ways to make our mornings easier and getting to school with less resistance and ease, because I know, oh gosh, I hate when mornings are bad. It was like always my oldest worst time. And it kind of makes you feel awful for the rest of the day. Number 1, my favorite thing to do is really actually something really simple. And sometimes we get a little non-compliant, lazy, whatever you want to call it, right? But we as parents forget how important it is to prep the night before. And why is prepping the night before critical? Well, it's about reducing decision fatigue, right? When you have a kid who's dysregulated, when we have too many decisions, it contributes to that nervous system overwhelm, and you're just going to get a behavioral no. And then it creates this reactivity cycle that so many people experience, right? And again, I want to remind you, we still got to figure out what's going on. We'll talk more about that. But, what are simple things you can do? Lay out your clothes, pack your, get the lunch ready, pack the backpack, and, maybe even having a visual chart and being very clear about it the night before. In the morning, you want to reduce as many choices as possible to contribute to that overwhelm. By doing all these things the night before, hopefully you're getting a kid who is clear about what has to happen. And I think that a checklist is really helpful for sure. Number 2, we want to create a calm wake up time in the morning, right? A routine that is helpful. And I think that so many kids of all ages feel like they need more sleep. And so just even adjusting your routine with the bedtime and the wake up time, giving them a little extra time, not for sleep, but for transition. We're talking 5 minutes, 10 minutes. You need a routine. I like to set 2 timers in my house. The one where you wake up and the one you get up. In our house, we have an alarm in a bathroom. So they have to get up and, get up and move in the bathroom, and it just needs a little extra time. And I found that to be really helpful. Even with my easy kid, they needed that time to wake up and process, right? You can do things now with technology being so great. You can use a soft light timer, right? Where the timer, the light comes on 30 minutes before you wake up so that it starts a gentle wake up. It's not as jarring. You can even put soft music, things that really help to alert that you got to get up, but it's a calm wake up can be really helpful. And even when kids, we're always so busy rushing out the door in the morning, that little extra time, I know I need it. I get up extra early just to have time. Kids can sometimes really benefit from that. And you're going to have to adjust the nighttime routine to give your kids the extra sleep, which is not always easy. And think about a morning regulation activity. Is it just doing some stretches? Is it, putting a little music on and moving around? When there is a resistance that comes out behaviorally, you have to put something in place that creates a shift without words. And I feel that movement, breath, all of that makes a dramatic difference. It's just got to be part of the routine. Put it on that checklist, right? Number 3, you want to make school feel more predictable. And I love first then language, right? So first, we have breakfast. Then we're going to the bus stop, right? And then next, Mrs. Smith's going to meet you at the door. Just having that simplicity of the wording and the constancy of the wording is a cue for your kid that, okay, this is safe. This is what's happening. What you can do also that I love to do, a great therapist hack is to actually use thermometer. You can do a printout, just Google, anger thermometer or emotional thermometer. And younger kids, it's 1 to 5. Older kids, it's 1 to 10. And you're going to rate. You're going to do, it's called SUDS, subjective units of distress, right? I have a whole video on that. What you want to do is, say, like, where are you on a 1 to 5 today? 5 being the most activated, 0, none. Get a sense. So they have a little bit of a sense like, oh, I'm not as activated. If they're always a 5, it's an alert to you and them. There's something deeper going on here, right? And so sometimes things feel so big for kids. It's all or nothing. And we do that to kids. Teachers do that to kids. People do that to kids all the time, but there might be more wiggle room in there. And so when you use your wake up routine, your calm down routine, and you make it part of that thermometer, it's really helpful. Number 4, give them a sense of control. So even though we're limiting decisions, giving them a sense of control, small choices, right? Are we doing exercise? Are we doing breath work today? I even like to make it nonverbal. We do a number 1 exercise, we do a number 2, and just really give them a little more power. Transition objects can help for younger kids. It might be a stuffed animal. Older kids, it might be some type of sensory item. You really want to give them an empowerment because, again, control reduces distress, right? And kids are going to try to take control any way they can, whether it's healthy or unhealthy. So let's give them healthy control that gives them, a sense of power. And remember, everything we're doing today sets the total foundation of the future. You have 100% control over your child's emotional health, and you're creating generational emotional wealth. And that's what this is all about. So yes, it's helpful for right now, but we're working on all the things that are going to affect not just your child, but all the generations that come beyond. I know that's a lot, but you should be excited by that because what you're doing is that dramatic and that helpful. So we always want to use positive language, right? Instead of criticism, like, wow, that was hard. And I love how you gave that a try. And, your kid probably will say something like, but it didn't work, and say, what works all the time? We got to try, right? Look at Thomas Edison. How many times did he try, and just make it real because we live in a very critical society of all or nothing. And so positive reinforcement isn't saying good job. It's really about the specifics of the attempt to do it so that you're cueing them to what they should be doing, right? And they can feel good about it. And then they start to understand, in that deeply internal way, right? They start developing intrinsic motivators, right? We want our kids to just do stuff because they feel like, it's a good thing. It starts with external motivators and lots of reinforcement, and then it switches into the inside. And so this is a part of that. Addressing school resistance with the school. So you've got a kid who's really resistant. You try, Roseann, I've done this. I've given them choices. We have a calm down routine. We do everything the night before. You want to really tell your school. I'm always surprised sometimes how parents don't share this with the school, right? This is a big deal if it's that, stressful. What could be behind it? Things like boredom, I have a lot of gifted kids I work with. They could be bored. It could be a social issue. It could be that there's really a learning issue. 50% of the time when I get somebody who has ADHD, 50%, they have not ADHD at all, and they have something else. I would say that even the other 50%, most of them have layers of things. So I say that about ADHD because it's just so common. We, give the diagnosis like, oh yeah, sure, sounds like you have ADHD. Well, unless you've had a good brain map, you're not going to really know it's ADHD. Schoolwork could be hard. The teacher could not be the right fit. The classroom might be loud. There might be sensory. You've got to really think about what's going on. You want to have the school help you develop a school support plan. What is it? Is it different things that they're doing in terms of, what time they get there, or, maybe the hallway's too noisy, or, just so many things I've done in terms of accommodations, and schools have been great, actually. And you want to think about what could you do as part of that? What's in your comfort plan, right? Is it a little love note in the lunchbox? Is it different tools in the backpack? Maybe it's, some essential oils. Sometimes schools get cuckoo about that, but I'm a big fan of essential oils. And, I just had somebody, their child was struggling in a flare episode. And I was like, do you use essential oils? I'm like, we haven't in a long time. And she was very dysregulated to the point where just couldn't even communicate. And I just pulled out the lavender and did that. And it brought some calm. And then I put it on the parents. So there are many things that kids can really respond to. So what happens when you've done all these things and your child is still refusing, right? So number one, you have to regulate first, right? So you can't address the problem unless your child is regulated and you are regulated. So you're not going to move forward in any way if you're not working on regulation. So regulate before you try to fix the problem. And that's in the moment or in general. I know it's not easy to stay calm, especially when you potentially could be late for work, or you're worried about the school repercussions. But, when school resistance, school anxiety, school refusal is this much of an issue and it's regularly happening, you really need professional support. You're likely to need school support if you already haven't had it. So get started, be consistent, put your own oxygen mask on, regulate, right? Don't go in hot. Really try these strategies to really be helpful. And ultimately, you really got to get to the bottom of why this is happening. But these strategies work. I've done them for these 3 decades. If you need more help, we have a Quick Calm, and you can go to drroseann.com. Quick Calm, all one word. And what is Quick Calm? It's a really little quick, easy way for you to get support and how to calm yourself down, how to calm your child down. And it's a deep dive into our calms protocol. And it's just a great resource that's something that you can use and really educate yourself. But again, as all my stuff, it's actionable. So grab your Quick Calm and get started today.